As the years went by with the fire service, eventually cities and towns started putting in water lines to be able to provide fire protection, as well as providing domestic water. But the first water lines that were put in were wooden water lines, and that's something that's just unheard of today. But the wooden water lines would be installed in underground. The firefighters would know where these water lines were. And the idea was that when you went to a fire, you would locate one of these water lines, you would dig a hole down to where this water line was, and it would be down just far enough so that the water wouldn't freeze. You would cut a hole in that water line, it would fill up the hole, that you dig a hole around where you're cutting the water line. It would fill it up, and then you would have your bucket brigades take the water out of the hole. The water lines were made out of like 4x6 pieces of wood, and we have an example of one right here. Now, the amazing thing to me about these things is how could they drill that hole back in the early 1900s or even before that, and get it through this 4x6 piece of wood for whatever length that that the wood pipe was. They had to lay these things in length, 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, whatever the length of wood was. Today, you would do that very easily. You'd use a laser sight. You'd use some electronic means to guide the drill bit that went straight through that piece of wood to cut that 2.5-inch hole. Back in the early 1900s, or the late 1800s, they didn't have that technology. They didn't have lasers. They didn't have GPS. They didn't have any of that type of thing. And how they could bore that hole through a length of wood and get it straight through there is just, it just astounds me that could be done. But you can see the size of this, again, is a 4x6 piece of wood in whatever length that it was, with a 2.5-inch or 3-inch hole all the way through it.